June 28 edition of PFTOT, just 3 weeks and 6 days away from the return of PFT Live. The NFL news never goes away, though. Today's the day that the Deshaun Watson disciplinary hearing commences. Probably has commenced by the time you've seen this. Unlikely that it's over by the time you've seen it, depending upon whether or not the evidence submitted is highly limited in nature. Regardless, we're moving towards some sort of a decision, first by the disciplinary officer, retired federal judge Sue L. Robinson, and then ultimately, if any discipline is imposed by her, the commissioner makes the final decision. The big issue, and I think the thing will determine how long this lasts and how involved it is and how upset the NFL may end up being about the process, is whether or not she allows the union to really develop the argument that any punishment of Watson must be in proportion to punishment imposed on the past on other people, specifically owners, specifically Daniel Snyder, Robert Kraft, Jerry Jones, the Commanders, Patriots, and Cowboys, respectively. If she allows that to be fully developed, evidence to show investigations and decision-making and ultimate suspensions or punishment or whatever was imposed, that opens a can of worms from an evidence standpoint. That slows everything down, and the NFL will not be happy about that. The NFL will argue, undoubtedly, this is only about Watson. This is about what he did or didn't do and what he should or shouldn't have happened to him. And the owners aren't part of the collective bargaining unit. They're a separate universe altogether. The problem is the NFL felt compelled to put in the personal conduct policy, gratuitous language, acknowledging that owners are held to a higher standard. Well, now the union, on behalf of Deshaun Watson, will be holding the league to that language. That's where that all comes from. We'll see where it all goes, but that is a huge factor. Beyond that, look, the NFL believes there's corroborating evidence for at least 5 of the claims against Deshaun Watson, and this isn't necessarily about whether he did what he's accused of doing. This is about whether he engaged in conduct that violates the policy. There's a couple of catch-all provisions at the bottom of the long list of things that are prohibited that are broad enough to say, if the league chooses to do so, and if the disciplinary officer chooses to go along with it, that the mere act of lining up these massages one after another with strangers by all appearances on Instagram and admittedly trying or succeeding or both in having these massages become sexual encounters, that in and of itself is the kind of thing that is a personal conduct policy violation. It's the kind of thing players shouldn't be engaged in. It's the kind of thing that puts the NFL, the Shield, the teams, the players at risk. And it's come to fruition. The controversy in the last 15 months shows what the behavior can lead to. That's the proof. It's not may, it did. It not possibly will create issues as it relates to the NFL's integrity in the eyes of fans. It did. That'll be the argument. We'll see where it goes.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.